Welcome to Fanboy and the Snob. I'm Chad,
I'm Chris.
and today we were talking about,
Five Element Ninjas.
yay, the Shaw Brothers.
1982.
This is a Chinese martial arts movie, if you didn't
Like-
know. Super Chinese.
One of the last super Chinese ones. It was made in Hong Kong, or released in Hong Kong. It's only got it's if you guys know what the Venom mob, I guess is what they call themselves, but they were like the guys that were in every Shaw Brothers films from like I want to say late 50s to I guess early 80s. And yeah, it was just like a bunch of guys who did martial arts for theater decided, why don't we just start making movies? And they started making really very basic plot. Every trope comes from the Shaw Brothers, basically. Like the long-bearded Sifu, like all that stuff. It all comes from the Shaw Brothers. And it's pretty cool. And this movie was like one of the last ones they made, I think. And it was pretty great.
Yeah, the brutality in this movie was hilarious.
It starts with simple stabbing and slashing, and then by the end of the movie, they're ripping a man in half. There's blood spraying everywhere.
So why are they fighting in the first place at the beginning? Because the beginning of the movie, they have a non-lethal little
It's just
tournament.
a tournament to see who's the best martial arts school.
Of the Japanese and the Chinese.
No, of the Chinese, between two Chinese schools.
Oh, they were both Chinese? I
Yep.
thought one was Japanese.
No, they were both Chinese schools, and then that guy brought in a samurai as his ringer.
Oh.
You know, to be like, haha, you Chinese are great, but check out this samurai I found. And then when the samurai loses, because he loses to a guy who doesn't even use a sword, which is super cool, he kills himself and is like, my ninja friends will get you. So that's the start of the movie.
All right. That's a good premise.
The jealous Chinese master hires assassins to kill the good Chinese master. And boy, do they kill him.
Just watched it.
Tell us about the plot, Chad.
All right, so then after...
It was less than an hour ago, and you don't remember.
So after the big battle, little tournament thing, they get this little letter in saying that they're going to get avenged. The ninjas are coming.
Yep, the Five Elements ninja.
And don't they not know that they're real at that point?
None of the Chinese people have ever heard of ninjas before.
Yeah.
Until they do later.
So that one dude.
Yeah, until later he's like, oh, by the way, when they're all standing around like, what the fuck's a ninja?
So I like how the Chinese are just going into this being like, they're probably not even real.
They're probably not even tough. And then, so the master is like, okay, so you four are my best. Everyone else sucks. So there's 5 elements, right? What are they?
Earth.
No. Gold, wood, water,
fire,
earth.
I was going to say earth, wind, and fire and try to make a lame joke.
No, and I ruined it. So he sends 2 of his shittiest people to go check out gold, and they get wrecked by ninjas wearing gold, using signal mirrors to fuck with their vision. Then he sends 2 guys to go deal with wood, and it's like ninjas hiding in trees, and they're using all sorts of hand weapons.
The very foam-looking trees.
And ninja stars. Then he sends 2 guys to go fight water, and they just stand on a bridge and die because they were useless. And then he sends 1 dude to go fight fire, and he actually manages to kill one of the fire ninjas. But then he gets wrecked because fire ninjas use smoke and katanas, and they shoot sparks at you, and 1 dude lights his sword on fire. It's pretty cool. And then he sends the toughest dude, 3rd toughest dude, right?
Yeah, because they left the other 2
they left the toughest dudes behind. So the 3rd toughest dude goes to fight Earth, and this is when you start to see the escalation in violence. Because the way Earth ninjas work is they hide in the ground, and when you step over them, they just stab upwards. So this guy's getting stabbed in the groin 5 or 6 times till his fucking intestines are hanging out of him.
Can I say I've watched a lot of gory stuff, but just always seeing somebody getting stabbed in the crotch area.
Well, what I like about this movie is they didn't have the budget to do the extreme gore special effects, so a lot of it's like implied, which leaves your imagination. Like he's wearing a skirt, so you can't really see where he's getting stabbed, but in your brain, you're picturing it in the worst spot.
Then he trips over his intestines.
Oh yeah.
Which leads
Well,
to his
this
downfall.
is when the head ninja, jumps into the fight, and him and the head ninja are using kind of similar like sword spears, like a naginata, and I don't know what the other guy had, but Cao uses it in Dynasty Warriors. You know, the big. Anyway, they're fighting, and like it's even. In fact, the Chinese guy is overpowering the Japanese guy, but then the Chinese guy steps on his own intestines and drops his weapon and gets sliced across the chest and in slow motion.
Yeah, I definitely think if he didn't have his intestines all hanging out, he probably would have just owned all of them.
Maybe not owned them, but definitely.
Well, if he wasn't getting stabbed in the dick 100 times,
but like he was still outnumbered 10-1. So like
he was doing pretty good with his intestines hanging out.
He would have fucked him up, but I think he would have got killed. He would have killed the majority of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah. And then so like it cuts back to the dojo of the white ninjas. They wear white, or the white Chinese people, I guess. And they're like setting up defenses and traps and stuff like that because they know the ninjas are coming after them. And then for some reason they deliver all 8 dead friends like in a line, and one by one they take and reveal who died, even though we just watched it happen. And then every character's like, that sucks. And then some guy starts beating a chick in front of him, and the main character's like, that's a trap, but the main character's brother's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, you have the overly nice brother and then the skeptical one who ended up being right.
I mean, it's not like she tried very hard. So, like, they invite this chick in, and it turns out she's working with the ninja, and she's, like, drawing a map, and the main character walks in on her drawing the map, and is like, what are you doing? And she's like, nothing. And he goes, okay, and walks away.
How many times did she literally, like,
get caught?
Right?
Yeah, 3 times. She got caught 3 times. Then she tries to have sex, or no, she tidies everyone's room by hiding their weapons. And the main character's like, he goes into his room and he starts freaking out, like, where's all my stuff? And she's like, oh, I moved it for you. And he goes, okay, where's my spear? She goes, behind the cabinet. And then he pulls the cabinet and goes, you put it here so when the ninja come, I wouldn't have a weapon. And then she starts crying. And the nice brother goes, no, dude, she just hid your weapon.
Just trying to help.
Yeah, just trying to help by hiding your weapon.
The soup.
Yeah, the soup. She tries to poison the master's soup, and the skeptical one knocks it out of her hands, and it like bubbles on the ground, and he goes, don't make it so hot next time. And it's like, dude. And then she tries to bang the nice brother, but the nice brother's like, no, dude, I can't have sex with you. So she's like, cool, I'm going to play a really, really, really loud flute then. So she starts playing a super loud flute.
That's her way to seduce him.
And then every guard in like the inner sanctum starts listening to the flute. Oh, I forgot to mention the master locked himself in a room.
Yeah.
With only one way in and one way out. Smart. And what's the secret knock? No, it was just. It's not even a secret knock. So yeah, master's locked himself away. Temptress is tempting the virgin. Skeptical brother is being skeptical. And then the ninja attack. And they start doing all cool shit. Like one guy drops down from the ceiling and just puts a sword through a guy's head. That was pretty cool.
Can we just talk about every time the ninjas are approaching this, turn the sound up?
Oh yeah, they completely cut all audio. So it's like the ninja appear, even though you can clearly see like dust and like people stumbling when they land.
Super sneaky.
Yeah. Oh, they throw ladders up on a tile roof and it makes no sound.
It just does like...
Right?
They were so gentle with it.
And then, so like the ninjas attack like the remaining Chinese warriors and they get murdered one by one. And then finally, it wasn't the bells that triggered, because they put bells on the roof to catch them. It wasn't the bells that triggered stupid brother. It was when he heard his friends screaming as they're being murdered that he went, hey, I think something's happening.
No, he heard the bells, but he didn't react until he heard that. And then he looks over, and the girl's literally standing there like this.
With the fucking knife in her flute, and he's like, wait here, and she just shoots him.
He had to go on this long little like paragraph long like sentence he was doing. Then she's like, "Are you done?"
And then he's like, what? And then she runs over and pulls flowers out, and he's like, okay. And then she stabs him with sword and flower technique.
Dude, that was cool.
Yeah, it was. So now he's been like stabbed and he's been shot, and he's like, oh, you are a traitor. And it's like, but then unarmed guy runs out into the crowd and just starts owning people, even though he's been stabbed and shot. Like he just runs up to a dude, just cracks him in the jaw, and you watch his head spin around, and he's just dead. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And then Spear Guy joins the fight, and they're fighting together. And eventually, they find Sifu's hidey hole, and they're trying to get the door open, and they can't.
They stapled it shut.
No, yeah. So they staple it shut because they're like, "Fuck this guy," and then they walk around the side, and they notice, oh, he's got a window. Okay, shoot flaming arrows in. So now they're shooting flaming arrows in, and the Sifu can't get out. So muscular guy runs over, unarmed bro, dumb bro runs over, and he starts yanking the staples out and using them as melee weapons.
That was cool though.
Yeah, he's been stabbed a bunch of times at this point, so he's not able to do it, and he dies like trying to pull the last two out.
That was fucking brutal because the door is on fire beneath him, so
yeah,
he's like lying on the door.
It was real fire.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they couldn't bake fire back in the day.
So it's like, it's real fire, like burning his feet, and that's real black smoke that he's inhaling as he's trying to. And then he had to lean on a metal door with fire behind it, so that probably hurt his back. And then it cuts to the master inside, and the entire room is on fire except for the little part he's in. So that must have sucked. Like, the actor was sweating profusely, so you know he was in a burning room.
Are you sure the scene needs to be this long, guys?
Yeah, okay. I'm dead now. Please get me out. Like, his death scene was funny. He just went and fell off camera because he knew he was in danger. So then a skeptical one, main character, gets captured, and he gets tied up in some BDSM gear. And then conveniently, he remembers he was taught by a ninja. Yeah, it turns out he knew what ninjas were the whole time.
Yeah, I think that's something he failed to tell his little brothers and everything.
That's called a Deus Ex Machina moment, where the writer was writing and went, and then he's tied up in impossible knots. Shit, what do I do now? No. Turns out he knew it all along, you know?
The thing that bugs me the most is, during the whole movie, they're showing, like, notes and, like, a person tied, like a drawing of somebody tied up with, like...
They're showing us real ninjutsu scrolls from museums.
Yeah, so... They could have, like, just inferred that he knew how to do that.
But the fact that he says, what's a ninja, when they're talking about ninjas...
Yeah, it's pretty
You know what I mean? That's my favorite part about Kung Fu. If you start to think about the plot, you're like, this sucks. But if you just kind of, like, watch it, and you're like, those guys are pretty good at choreography. You know? Like, that's... Yeah. The choreography in this movie is amazing. You can tell everyone, even the extras, are, like, professionals.
Well, yeah, back in the day, I'm sure they all just, like, were forced to do this, like Jackie Chan was.
Yeah. Poor Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung. You're going to ballet school, where they just beat the shit out of you until you can do 3 backflips.
They just, like, attach you a thing at the hips, and just continuously doing the backflips.
And then if you fuck up, they just hit you with rods.
Ugh.
And then they do that thing where you have to squat with the wood on and you have to just stay there like that.
Yeah. That's fun. We need to have that.
But hey, we got ourselves a Jackie Chan out of it. So
see, they need to start grooming action.
Think about that. Now. Think about how many kids they've thrown into that meat grinder, and we got Jackie Chan. Like, we got one.
Well, I think Jet Li was part of it too.
Yeah, and Sammo Hung, but like Jackie Chan, you know what I mean? Like, we got one out of the millions that have gone there. But anyway, back to the movie. Where was I? Oh, so he gets captured. Turns out, while he was walking through the woods one day, he ran into a ninja who tied him up with ropes and then taught him how to get out of them. And he goes, this might come in handy one day. And then it cuts back to the present, and he goes, it did come in handy. And he unties himself. And then he reties himself up because the girl walks in. And he's like, I can't believe you were a traitor. But it was like, you accused her the entire time she was here. Like, what do you mean you can't believe... And then she was like, by the way, I love you, not your dead brother who I murdered. So we should bang.
I know he was the nice one, but
yeah,
I like bad boys.
I like bad boys, so we should bang. And he kind of does. He just like unties himself and is like, no, and just holds a knife to her throat. Like, are you kidding me? And then he uses her as a hostage to do a backflip onto a roof and then a cool like
God.
cat jump. I don't know how else to describe
It
it.
like he was like sitting on his hands and feet, just got
I feel
excited,
like
went,
I feel like he jumped and then landed on his hands and knees on a trampoline and then was in the air like this over the like he fucked up his landing.
There's definitely a bunch of like botch stuff they left in the movie. Like at the end when that thing explodes, the guy obviously just like trips.
We
and
only got
falls.
one take. We only have so much film.
That's why they ended it. It's like, all right, freeze it. It won't look as bad.
That's how all those kung fu movies ends. Like once the villain is defeated, who cares? There's no point. It's like Red Line. Once the race is over, who fucking cares? Everything after it doesn't matter.
It couldn't have
But
mattered.
so he escapes and he runs back to the guy in the woods and he dodges the first trap he fell into and is like, I'm a smug motherfucker, and then just falls into the exact same trap 2 steps later. So it's like, you suck.
It looked like he was going to pick some of his vegetables too.
Yeah, steal his leeks or something, and then he just falls into the same trap again. And then the master's like, okay, I'll train you how to be a ninja, because fuck those 5 element guys.
I got 3 bros over here.
I got 3 dudes I've been training. Check out that guy. And that guy's lifting like a 3-ton stone, and you're like, holy fuck. And then one guy, what was he doing? The second guy, he was just doing nothing, right?
I can't remember.
He was like sweeping and doing like flips.
Yeah.
And then the third guy attacks chickens and for some reason grabs a chicken and does a fucking flip in the air and then just throws it.
The other guy catches it, gets on the ground, and the guy's like, just tosses it.
And you can see like the chicken is alive while it's being like, this is before PETA, I guess.
Well, even if PETA was around.
Yeah, fuck
China cares.
Hong Kong doesn't give a shit. Then again, this was British Hong Kong. So maybe PETA would have had some sway. But anyway, so the 4 brothers, or the 3 brothers, kind of agree to help him get his revenge. Because why not?
Plot.
They ain't doing anything really. So they learn to fight blindfolded with like signs. You know, it's just like a post with a piece of wood on it. And their master's like trying to, I guess he teaches them to fight blind, and then he teaches them how to like work together. And then we have a montage. What happens after the montage? Do they just start fighting? Oh no. The ninja guy gets pissed at the girl because he was like, you released him, you stupid bitch, but I'll give you one more chance if you go figure out who his master is. Oh no, because he goes to the ninja and he's like, I challenge you to a duel. And the ninja's like, I could kill you here right now. And he goes, but you won't. And he goes, you're right. And then
it's like this weird honor thing.
Yeah, well, it's kung fu, you know.
And the guy's like, why didn't you kill him there?
And he was like, because
he challenged me.
He challenged me, and if he challenged me, that means he has a master. And if he has a master, I got to kill him. Otherwise, I'm not the best. And it's like, okay, I get your logic. So he sends the girl to figure out who the master is and how he learned to fight and how many warriors he has with him. And skeptical guy's like, motherfucker, we've been through this, and just fucking stabs her.
Well, to be fair, I think he would have banged her if they didn't have the whole,
no,
you can hear the ninjas in the footsteps.
I think he was planning on killing her from the get-go, because he was like, no, come on, lay down. And she put her weapon down, you know, like, he was like, no, come on, I'll trust you this time, you know, after.
I still think he would have.
Do you remember what he said when he stabbed her? You still killed all my brothers. And remember? Yeah. Remember when you killed my brother? So he's like, you murdered my brother, I'm gonna murder you. And he fucking stabs her in the side and like twists it and like really gets it in there. And she's like, I didn't know I was being followed. And he was like, yeah, right. And then he kills the guys following her. And then he goes, I did the right thing.
Did I?
No, you did it wrong. It's, I did the right thing. Did I? And then never addressed. They just move on. And then it shows the 4 brothers now, all decked out in white with like mesh tank tops and like really shiny weapons.
I like to think the fishnet was in remembrance of her because she was always wearing.
Yeah, she was always wearing fish. No, we know why they wear fishnet. It's revealed.
I know.
Then they fight the gold ninjas who do their spinny shields to try and distract them, but all they do is just close their eyes. And then it cuts to them wearing blindfolds, in case you forgot. They trained. And then they whooped the fucking gold ninja's ass.
Yeah, they sucked.
Yeah, they did. And then they fucking slap one guy into the wall and he stays put like it's a fucking anime.
That was fucking brutal.
Then they go fight the tree guy. The tree guys was the most. Those guys got the rawest deal.
This thing like got torn apart and everything. They had their spears and they had like a little crescent moon thing that they just break
They had
off.
like it was like a crescent moon axe blade pull. So they slam the axe blades into a tree, pull the crescent moon off, and then attach a chain to it and use it like scorpions, like rope and kunai. And they are just fucking wrecking dudes left and right. Like
that was a cool fight.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like that might be the hardest weapon in the whole movie.
That one guy who was doing the perfect X while the guy with the sword was parrying it. Like the dude, I was watching the ninjas this time around, and I was like, you know what? Those guys are actually really good with their swords because like they're not doing as many like spins and flashes and stuff, but when they swing and block, it's very realistic. They're not doing all the flourishes that the main characters do.
Well, the Chinese sword fighting is a lot of like
flourishing.
Yeah, with
it's
Japanese, it's a lot of controlled strikes and all
so
that.
like, there's one fight between like the guy with the long sword with the tassels who kind of fences, and there's the one ninja, and they have a legit like.
That was a cool
like
one.
it looked how it would have probably looked, where it's like swing riposte, swing riposte, swing riposte, you know. But yeah, so it's chains. They're fucking ripping dudes' arms off. One guy throws the chain around a tree and pulls, and just top half goes flying and blood goes spraying into the air. The last ninja gets 2 hooks in the shoulders, 2 hooks in the ankles. They lift him up so he's laying spread eagle, belly down towards the ground. And then you go 1, 2, 3, and rip all his limbs off. And the little nub just falls on the ground and shakes, and there's blood spraying everywhere.
I love like the old 70s and 80s blood. It's just like fluorescent red.
It looks like it's just red paint. It's awesome. But in this movie, I think it worked really well because they're wearing white, so the blood really popped.
Yeah.
You know? I liked that. Then they go to water, right? They leave their axe heads behind and their crescent moons, and they go to water with just some metal poles, right? You're like, what's going to happen? And then the water ninjas come up on them, and they turn their poles into spears, and they start stabbing at the water ninjas. And then the water ninjas go underwater, and they go to do their secret technique where they jump out of the water and like come over you. And they take their mesh off, and they make a big old net. And they just catch the guys in the net, throw them down, and then just stab them to death.
Now, can I ask one thing?
What?
The other people going into this, they didn't know what the 5 elements were.
Nobody.
So it was just very convenient that they had the nets on.
No, I think the master must have known.
You think so?
Yeah, so he was.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, the master must have known.
He
was a Japanese guy, or I think he was a Chinese guy that lived in Japan or something like that. I don't know. The movie is anti-Japanese Chinese propaganda, so like the Japanese are just evil, backstabbing douchebags the whole movie, and the Chinese are virtuous heroes, which we all know to be the opposite. But modern politics. Yeah, so they just beat the shit out of the water. Like the water ninjas sucked so fucking hard. I don't know why they were number 3. They should have been like number 1, because like the gold ninjas had a good strategy, but water ninjas sucked.
Well, I wanted to talk about this later when we talk about, but fuck it. The way the water ninjas work, they pretty much just like doggy paddle.
Yeah, they have a little like foam belt, and they swim at you and like throw stuff at you and then swim away. It was like, that's so easy to avoid. Just don't go near the water.
And the fucking first 2 guys that go fight him were like
standing on like a narrow bridge.
But they were like the knife specialists.
They were the darts and the spear guys.
And that's why the guy sent them the 2 weapons that would be great against them.
Which are the 2 weapons that defeat them later, but it was like those 2, I guess they just suck.
Ugh.
Then again, they didn't know what they were going into.
Yeah.
You see 2 guys doggy paddle at you and you're like, fuck, and then they just stab you and you're like, oh god, I didn't.
Especially a guy with a gun just walking up here. What are you?
Just Indiana Jones. So then Earth, they're cool as fuck.
Yeah, they were the.
Oh no, Fire then Earth.
Yeah.
Fire are these red ninjas. They're like the most straightforward. They just sword fight you. They run up and they have a sword fight.
They try to disorient you with the smoke and everything.
Right.
Then they just fuck you up.
So our heroes, Turns out their poles have a giant black flag in them, right? Henry Rollins comes out and he starts pontificating about how life should be.
That's why they made the band name.
Yeah. Oh yeah, fire ninjas. They have these huge black flags, and they use it to like swirl the smoke around. And you actually answered this for me. I was like, wouldn't that just fuck everyone up? And you were like, well, they train to fight blindfolded.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's not the disorienting the fire ninjas.
Yeah, and then the fire ninja with the flaming sword figures it out, so he starts lighting their flags on fire, which makes all four just run at him. Just kill that guy real quick. And they manage to fucking kill all the fire ninjas after they do the cool like flag techniques. Like they do one where the guy like swings it and like drags the flag along the ground, so like the ninja jumps it and then he lands on the flag and he just yanks it out from underneath him and stabs him. And I was like, that's pretty clever. And then it goes to Earth, and Earth is hardcore as fuck.
Yeah, they're stabbing people in dicks all day.
Right.
But
so
this time
we see the boys walk over and they split their spear now into two spears, and you're like, that's impractical and stupid. And then the first guy stabs through the ground and they jump up in the air and they press a button and their spears turn into stilts.
The mechanics of these weapons.
Over the top. So they have these like stilt spears that they're using to walk around, and whenever someone stabs up, they stab down and blood just sprays up into the air. And they wind up killing all the Earth ninjas to the point of where the main ninja comes out, and all four start fighting him. And it's like a really long, drawn-out fight. And the second the ninja starts losing, because what they do is the first guy goes in, fights him. Then the second guy jumps in, first guy jumps out, fights him. And they're doing it to like tire him out. And as soon as he gets tired, he puts claws on his feet and starts swinging and kicking and doing like bicycle kicks.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah. And then he has shackles. And he shackles the main character to his stilts. So now the main character's like, oh, what do I do? And he's like laying on the ground, and his buddy's like trying to help him by lightly tapping the shackle with a rock, while the other two are just getting wrecked.
And you forgot to mention that the guy who trained them gave him a key.
Oh yeah, he goes, this is a key. It could come in handy later. And he goes, okay. And just puts the key on.
Then he drops it, and I'm like, is that other guy gonna like betray him? And he's like, oh wait, here's your key.
Yeah. And then the main character's like remembers his master going, key. And then he goes, oh, my key. Oh no. And then the guy helping him goes, oh yeah, and just unlocks it. And then the main character's watching his friends just get kicked in the chest over and over and over. And he goes, I gotta fucking shackle him. That's what I gotta do. So then the fight turns into the main character trying to shackle him the whole time, and they're doing like cool like kick things where he's trying to catch him with the shackles. And eventually he realizes the only way he's going to catch him is to take both feet to the chest. So he runs full force at the main villain, gets both feet in the chest, shackles him, and then his buddies run over and stab him in the chest and the shoulders. So he's like pinned to the ground like, oh, fuck! And then he starts pulling on his ankles, and they rip him in half.
Now, I think the only reason that they showed them lifting that thing up is so you know that they're super fucking strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So when the brother who lifts the thing up is the brother who rips the tree in half with his fucking bare hands, you know? Yeah, they're like superhero level strength. So they rip that man in half. He sprays blood all over the place.
Oh, it's like the length of the little spray where
you
his
could
body
say
should
that
be.
They ripped his torso a little bit away, and maybe that's just his organs were left in place, and I don't know, maybe.
I just think they placed him in the wrong spot.
Oh, they placed him in the wrong spot. So then they're all like, main character, why did you sacrifice yourself? And he goes, I don't know, and dies. And then
and he literally goes, I don't know.
Yeah. And then
he just points to like the Earth sign.
So the three ninjas run over and fucking shoulder rush the Earth sign and shatter it. And
the middle one trips and just like spins.
And as soon as it breaks, the end pops up on the screen, credits. Because we don't need to know anymore. All right? They won. It's over.
Yeah.
Great movie.
What do you think of the props in this movie?
Loved them. They were outlandish and stupid and fun.
Every piece of like metal is just like wrapped with
clang, clang, clang.
Oh, God. No, that's the sound effect.
Sound effects are amazing in this movie.
No, all like the weapons where they're actually using in combat look like they're like just little pieces
Foam
of
wrapped in
foam.
tinfoil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have like that nice shine where they shine the light on it, so everything's just like piercing bright.
Oh, and they totally like. You ever watch martial arts competitions where they do the weapons? Like the reason the weapons are bright and shiny is it makes it look like it's spinning faster.
Mm.
So they use that in this movie. Everyone's weapon is incredibly bright and shiny. Except for the old guy with the staff. He was cool.
How fast do you think they were actually fighting, opposed to how fast they sped it up?
Not as fast as like Jackie Che does his stuff, but definitely faster than who's Taken.
Oh, Liam Neeson.
Definitely faster than Liam Neeson. Definitely faster than all the martial arts in the Avengers movies and in the Justice League movies. Not as fast as like good, like nowadays good, like not as good as like Raid.
Oh yeah,
where Raid they're running at each other and just like it's not slowed down. But it was the 80s, man. So like they were pioneering the like maybe we don't have to do it slow motion if we're all just really good at it. But they're going slower than you normally would, but that's just to show off the forms, I guess.
Well, the good thing about this movie is if you watch a lot of the old martial arts movies and they speed it up, it has like that quick, like you could tell like the punch is like where this like I feel like they were going like at maybe like this fast.
Yeah.
And that little boost made it look like as good as it did.
And they don't do that dumb thing where it cuts the second there's an impact, like American movies like to do.
It's when you go like this, the punch here, cut to the person's
to
face.
Opposite side, them reacting. So it's like, I punch you in the face, then it cuts to the back of your head going like that. You know, they do that every time. Watch the Avengers. Every single punch is that.
Not in all of them.
Every single one. The only fight that's not like that is the Cap Winter Soldier fight.
That movie has the best fights. Falcon and Winter Soldier actually had some cool fights.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure.
Let's talk about the sound effects now.
Amazing. Loved it.
Shing! There's this one fight where the guy... Was he the only one sword fighter that every single swing was like... Shing!
Swing!
Shing!
Swing!
Shing!
The guy with the tassel, no matter what.
But they turn the sound off for the ninjas.
What about the... That happens a lot whenever someone throws a punch. The hammer. I love that hammer sound effect. Just that light tapping on metal. The door shutting, no matter what, even though it doesn't.
And the guy doesn't even shut it either. It's just like a cheap prop.
What about when they dropped the wood down and it made a hollow like thumb, like a bell ringing?
Between that and the dubbing, watching this movie is just...
The dubs and the subs don't match. So we were watching the dubbed version with subs on, and it was fucking really funny to see like some of the choices they made.
It's like poor translation.
Just bad translation or like too accurate translation where it doesn't make sense because it's not structured in English.
I don't know. The way the voice actors do like Chinese and Japanese voices though is awful.
I like it. I think it's perfect.
I think it's hilarious.
I don't think it's hilarious. I just,
Some of the voices sounded like Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
But it's like watching a movie from like the 20s and 30s where they're all talking like this. See, like it's like that, It's like that to me.
Don't get all up in arms about it.
It's like watching Meals on Wheels, and when Benny, who was raised in China but he's a white guy, is trying to do an American accent, and it just sounds so weird. And you're like, okay, yeah, no, I get it. I'm okay with it. I'm fine.
Yeah. The line delivery is the best, though, with some of these guys. Not as bad as, like, some of the dubbing we've seen.
Fist was pretty bad.
It's like, I know we're going to do this, but now we don't do that.
Yeah, Fist is like, you're doing well, Kenshiro, but now I'm going to defeat you because right now you're going to... Okay, fuck. And then in this movie, it's like, hello! Because they have to match the lip sync, and the lip sync is spoken in Chinese, and Chinese is very slow, and English is very quick.
You know one of the most ridiculous things about this movie? The sets. They are great. But
yeah,
you have like the matte paintings in the background where you see like... I feel like those are probably like 30 years old. Well, not 30 because they weren't making movies that long, but wicked old where they just start... You could see like lines in between it. Where it's like separating.
They were matte. I feel like they were matte paintings painted by the martial artists. Like, I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm just saying like the movie felt like it was created by them, by their friends. Like they made them, and I guess because the Chinese government was a thing, So I'm assuming the communist Chinese government, threw a bunch of money at them. Oh no, they were in Hong Kong. So maybe they got an investor to throw a bunch of money at them because they built pretty good sound stages. Like all the Element Ninja fights were all on sound stages, and both dojos were a sound stage. Yeah, and the part where he kills the girl by the rib, that was a sound stage. But yeah, like the map paintings are trash by like James Cameron standards. But they're better than I could do, so like I appreciated it.
No, I miss watching movies like that where, like,
I love like Alien. Like that's a lot of matte paintings, and you wouldn't notice because they do the miniature models. Like I don't know, it was really good.
I just think if I didn't notice that line going through, it wouldn't have been bad. But they had that same like problem with a lot of the things going on.
That and we were watching it in widescreen, so there's a lot of weird distortion on the sides.
Yeah, if you can find this movie in the original, like, what do they call it? Zack Snyder's thing?
Letterboxing.
Yeah.
Or 4:3, not 16:8.
Yeah, if you could find it in the original like VHS version, I'd probably want to watch that because sometimes like it just warps and it looks like a fish lens.
Yeah, it gets a lot of fisheye problems, and I think they did an HD touch up, so a lot of the scenes just look kind of blurry
on the tops.
Yeah, on the tops and the bottoms, but the faces are perfectly fine. But that could just be shitty Chinese lenses.
And a lot of the times, I feel like the touch ups they did it in the regular thing, then they widened it out, so it made it a little blurry.
Yeah.
No.
The music in this movie too. You'll be listening to this and you go, "Wait, I think I heard that in Kill Bill." You know, like you'll be like, "I heard that in a different movie." Like
there, you can definitely tell where Quentin, like you were saying, that they put the intro,
the Shaw
Kill Bill and stuff.
Yeah, they have that at the beginning of Kill Bill. I think they put it at the beginning of Inglourious Bastards too.
Oh really?
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino loves his kung fu, and now you know why.
His Star Trek movie's coming out. Well, they're actually going to start making it soon.
It's going to be so bad.
You like your Star Trek with their stories and not just all action. He likes doing a lot of combo pieces and stuff.
But I don't want people in Starfleet swearing. I don't want a rape scene.
Yeah, I think you already said that there's going to be like, it's going to be real lower.
I don't want a rated R Star Trek movie. No. I don't want it. Wrath of Khan is perfect, and they don't really swear, and it's not all that violent, except for the one guy kills himself. That was pretty brutal.
What was your favorite of the Element guys? Which one was your favorite?
I mean, okay, which one would you like to fight, and which one would you hate to fight?
I'd probably want to fight Water.
I totally want to fight Water. Water seems really easy.
I think I would die the most from Earth and Gold.
Earth and Fire would fuck me up.
Yeah.
Gold I would just run away from and just hope like I can like
outrun them.
Yeah. Because like they got those big clunky shields, you know. I'm hoping like maybe I can get around a corner and just you know, and then keep going. Fire would suck because that smoke would get in your eyes and your lungs.
Bring like a leaf blower.
Yeah. Leaf blower like a 9mm. Got him. You know. Earth would suck because like they're underground. And then they just stab you in the dick, and you're like, God damn it!
A chainsaw leaf blower.
Right? Oh, wow. Cool. Some fucking space marine, just a chainsaw.
No, yeah, I definitely want to fight Earth, because I don't want to get stabbed.
I don't want to get... The fact that, like, he was winning, and then he steps on his intestines, and yanks them out, and dies.
That's pretty nasty.
Pretty nasty.
But fuck Water. They sucked.
Yeah, Water sucked.
Fucking doggy paddling motherfuckers.
Oh, shit, they're in the water. Guys, let's go back on dry land. Come and get us.
Get off the dock.
Come over here. No, you come to us. Okay, we're just going to go around your little pond. Because remember, they're just in like a little pond. We'll just go around it.
So dumb.
Yeah.
So.
You got to put your phone on silent when we do this shit.
I know.
How do you always forget? Yeah.
But overall, what would you think of this movie?
What
would you tell people?
If you love old kung fu movies, you'll love. If you like Bruce Lee, if you like Jackie Chan, if you like maybe not Jet Li. Jet Li's a little more serious than this. This movie is lighthearted, despite its ridiculous violence. Yeah, it's just like it's a real comfy movie. I've seen a bunch, and it's usually when I just like sit down and I'm like, I want to watch something that I know that like. Just you get hype, you know. You're like, oh, get him, you know. Like
The biggest problem I'll give this movie is the filler in the middle.
Oh yeah,
where you have to have like the girl, and there's just like a lot of scenes where it's like,
we know she's a traitor. Like, we don't need to see her set up every little thing, you know?
Boys.
Yeah, and like a lot of the movie is filler.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Well, that's
because
a lot of martial arts movies.
Exactly.
Everything's filler until you get to the fights.
Because if it was just the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie, it'd be a 40-minute movie. I'm like, shit, we got to get that feature length. Okay, let's have a romance subplot. Master can talk for like 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, they ran out of shit. And they're like, fuck it. All right, let's just have a bunch of dumb scenes.
Oh, but I miss, every time I watch these movies, I get hyped and want to like watch 1,000 more of them.
Yeah.
Which is why we're talking about martial arts month, and I'm like, martial arts a year? And you're like, fuck off, Judd.
Fuck off.
We're not doing that.
Especially because you want to watch like the movies everybody talks about. So it's like, come on, man.
Let's talk about Rush Hour.
Yeah, right.
I fucking love Rush Hour.
No, they're great, but I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about the first Ip Man movie. No one talks about that.
What would you score this movie?
Score? It doesn't need a score.
Fun.
Yeah, fun. Fun out of 10. It's fucking awesome. Technically speaking, not very good. Overall, amazing. I don't care.
Fight scenes are great. If you appreciate martial arts, you'll like this movie.
If you go in expecting like The Raid or like Bak, like brutal, like visceral, angry no, dude, this is like for martial arts enthusiasts.
Yeah. They're all fighting for honor.
Yeah, they're fighting for honor, and they fight fast enough, but just slow enough. Like when the guy's trying to disarm the dude with the katana, and it zooms in on their hands, where he's trying to grab the hilt of his sword.
That's so cool.
And the other guy's like dropping it, catching it, like trying to avoid him.
You know what's funny? It probably didn't take super long for them to rehearse these scenes.
No, because they're all trained experts. Yeah. Like you could tell they were martial artists before they were actors. Like Jackie Chan, martial artist before he was.
Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments if you've actually seen this or if you're going to watch it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified. Thanks for watching.